So illegal aliens might be able to join the U.S. military. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the possibility of illegal aliens, undocumented migrants, non-citizens who are here legally, green card, H-1B visa, etc., being able to join the U.S. military. Now, this bright idea is being proposed by Senator Dick Durbin, a Democrat from Illinois. However, this is not anything new. It has happened in recent history in this country, and it's been bipartisan. Left and right have been on the same page with it. And before I get to that particular thing that happened in recent history, and before I get into Dick Durbin's comments, I just want to say this. Such an idea is very dangerous, especially right now. The border is wide open and we're getting the entire world to come through. Military-aged men are coming to this country from China, Africa, Europe, South America, everywhere. And you got to ask yourself, are they being sent here with orders? Are they being sent here for a particular reason? To get into the military, to infiltrate? Are they going to have dual loyalties? Are we going to have spies? Are we going to have people that will take up arms against Americans? Because that's a thing. People say, the military would never pick up arms against their own citizens, against their fellow citizens. Well, what if you're not a citizen? Then what? Now, before I get into that, let's take a look at what Dick Durbin said. If you want to see this clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
What troubles me about the debate now about the southern border is it is one half of the immigration equation. Yes, we need order at the border. Yes, we need to have changes in the laws that reflect the reality of the overwhelming numbers from all over the world who are coming to our shores and our border. But there is also an incredible demand for legal immigration into this country even now. The presiding officer, my colleague from the state of...
Why would you come to the country legally if you could come illegally and get a fast track straight to where you want to go? Now, I'm not advocating for illegal aliens to come into the country. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm just looking at the perspective of a potential legal migrant. All the incentive is there to come legally. Remove the incentive and maybe you might get more actual legal immigrants. I'm just saying.
Illinois has legislation which addresses one aspect of that. Her bill, and I hope I describe it accurately, says that if you're an undocumented person in this country and you can pass the physical and the required test, background test, the like, you can serve in our military, and if you do it honorably, we will make you citizens of the United States. Do we need...
There it is. There it is. Now, we're going to let them continue, but again, I'm going to play a video from a few years ago that shows this is not a new idea, and it has happened before.
Need that? Do you know what the recruiting numbers are at the Army and the Navy and the Air Force? They can't reach their quotas each month. They can't find enough people to join our military forces.
Well, we know why that's the case. I mean, you could say the solution is to get a bunch of these undocumented people, illegal aliens, people that have documents but are not citizens. You could say that's the case. We could just go get pulled from that particular group of guys. But maybe there's some things you could do to increase those numbers from actual citizens. Like, I don't know, maybe a lot of the LGBTQ stuff might need to go out the window. Just some suggestions to increase the numbers.
And there are those who are undocumented who want the chance to serve and risk their lives for this country. Should we give them the chance? I think we should.
So there you have it. That's his suggestion right there. Now we're going to get a bunch of these guys. Okay, we're going to get these guys right here. Here we go. These guys all from China, southern border, all from China. I've said it before. If you go to southern border and you're out there in the desert, in an environment like this, it could be in the summertime, it's really arid, dry, whatever. There's going to be a sign that you can see. It'll have 3 languages on it, and there's a button. If you push that button, help will come to you. So if you're dehydrated, you're injured, you're lost, push that button, help will come to you. Now, the sign has, like I said, 3 languages. Of course, you're going to have Spanish because you're right there, Mexico. You have English, and the third language is Mandarin Chinese. That is what you're going to see on the southern border. A lot of Chinese nationals. Now, why are so many of these war age men, no women at all, maybe a woman here and there, that'd be going to some kind of, a massage parlor or something? I know how that whole thing goes. Why are there so many men? Is it because they are going to work? That's part of it. May they end up in the military? Of course. And we know how China does with spies. We've seen Chinese spies in the military that weren't even illegal aliens. You're talking about guys that grew up in the United States. Matter of fact, I think it might have been one guy that was a spy who came from China and then got into the military, but he might have been a legal resident. So if you're getting a bunch of illegal aliens and the background checks are going to be slipshod at best to get into the country, then who's to say that these guys cannot wind up in the military and be spies very easily at a much higher rate? Now, as I said, this whole thing is not new at all. It's not new. We've had this before. Let's watch this. And speaking about China, this is going to highlight some of that right here. Although it may not necessarily be a spy case, we're going to talk about China and the previous rule that was on the books that only was rescinded, I believe, in 2016. Let's check it out.
The United States Army is discharging immigrant recruits after promising them a path to citizenship in exchange for their service.
Oh, sounds very familiar. Let's hear that one more time, because that sounds just like what Dick Durbin said earlier in this video. Let's watch this one more time.
The United States Army is discharging immigrant recruits after promising them a path to citizenship in exchange for their service.
Okay, that's what he just said. Now, this video is from July 10th, 2018. Okay, so we're now in 2023. Again, this is not a new thing, but let's continue.
Now, many of them are struggling with abrupt removals and canceled contracts. David Begnaud has been following the story of one PhD candidate who was abruptly discharged.
I ask you, American people, the people I love, is there any way or is there any method more honorable than getting citizenship by serving this great country?
Clearly Chinese, obviously.
That question comes from a Chinese-born, American-educated PhD student who's now teaching at Texas A&M University. His name is Panshu Zhao. What fascinated you about America?
I would say the first word is freedom, and second word, democracy.
Zhao enlisted in the U.S. Army Reserve through the MAVNI program, military accessions vital to the national interest. Started under President Bush to help fight the war on terror, it offered non-citizens a fast track to citizenship.
Look at that right there. MAVNI program started under W, right? To quote unquote fight the war on terror. What are we going to do? Well, we gotta send troops to go to Afghanistan and Iraq, Kuwait, etc., to go get deleted, to go get PTSD or whatever. So we got to get more people. Okay, bring in the non-citizens, the illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them, asylum seekers, whatever the correct term is for whoever they were able to recruit. Okay.
If they had critical language and medical skills needed by the military. Zhao speaks Mandarin. He enlisted in 2016, right before the program was suspended under President Obama, and just as tougher screenings were mandated for recruits.
So there you have it. So the program existed under W to quote unquote fight the war on terror. And then, okay, W, Republican, right, allegedly. And then here comes his, here comes the friend of, how am I going to say this? W knew Michelle Obama before I think Barack Obama knew W, if I'm correct. It's weird how that whole thing goes. But basically, W's friend comes along years later and rescinds it. 2016, a Democrat. And now here we are again, 2023. They're trying to bring it back. This whole thing is not new. It's already happened. And they are getting desperate because people don't want to join the military. Why would you want to join? I'll link to the rest of that video right there in the box, but I'm going to wrap it on up, put the bowl clean on top. as I close, I want to say this. Why would you want to join the military right now? Why? I mean, we're in wars all over the world. We got Ukraine going on still, Israel going on still, Taiwan's up next. Oh, ABL, ain't no boots on the ground. Look, it's inevitable. I mean, we got warships in the Mediterranean. I mean, it's inevitable that we get involved militarily. And if we're not involved militarily, there's a threat of it happening. You're kind of on call. You might be needed. You know, if we go to Taiwan, it's over with. If we go to Taiwan, there's going to be boots on the ground somewhere in this world. One of those three places, or all three, or two of the three, is going to be a problem. Why would you want to join in that situation? Then we have leadership problems. Then we got the mandates that exist, and they're trying to roll the mandates back. But if a new bug comes along, are they going to reinstate mandates? Tell you to put on the mask, tell you to get a shot, tell you to do this and do that for low pay, no support. You got veterans on the street, homeless, getting treated like garbage, being kicked out of nursing homes. You had this man that was in his 90s, and they tried to kick him out of the nursing home to make room for illegal aliens. What is the incentive to actually join? I wish there was an incentive, but really there's not. So maybe if you tighten that up, U.S. military, you'll be able to meet your numbers. But until then, you're going to have a problem. But maybe that's the whole point, to disincentivize citizens from becoming part of the military, to bring in a non-citizen. So again, if you got to lift up arms against American citizens, U.S. military, it's not really a big deal, because you're not talking about fellow citizens if you're not a citizen. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what Dick Durbin is suggesting, to recruit non-citizens to become part of the military and then give them a pathway to citizenship? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. It's a bad idea. However, not a new idea. It just comes with desperation. And I think maybe they are trying to gear up for something. All of a sudden now it's become a problem. All of a sudden now you want to bring back things. It wasn't necessary to have this kind of talk under Trump, because we didn't have all these wars going on. There was no need to bolster the military, but now there is. Now there's a problem. You want to keep doubling down on the woke, ridiculous nonsense, while at the same time trying to get engaged in worldwide conflicts. Doesn't make any sense to me. It reeks of incompetence, but what are you going to expect from a guy who's about 7,000 years old, and Joe Biden and the ridiculous pawns that he has around him who are really controlling the show? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.